boy, stop being lazy. Yeah, and I became creative. And I learned how to create it. And now that pride's for me. So come see. Oh, come eat.
Welcome to the Silver Lining Podcast. We are coming at you with a quick silver reaction to the Falcons' 34-7 beatdown of the New York Giants. I am your host, Sterlington, and this is my co-host, Cam. How you doing, Killer Cam?
Feeling great, baby. 8-7. Got the dub. Got the Rook his first dub. It feels good, baby. Feels.
Hey, keeping up with what I believe now is a new established Atlanta tradition that first-round quarterbacks when they first start.
Yeah. You got Vic.
Yep.
You got Matt Ryan.
Matty Ice.
And now you got Michael Penix Jr.
And Michael Penix Jr.
I like it, baby.
Starting a new tradition.
Hey. We know how to pick them.
Yo. Hopefully. And
Hey.
Not to mention, the Falcons defense looked good too. I mean, we got to keep in context. It was the reason why we felt confident going into this game. It's the reason why we thought this would be a great game for Penix to start. Because, the Giants, they playing left-handed with the right hand cut off and the left hand missing fingers and shit. That Dayball definitely getting fired. Dayball probably not surviving to the end of the season, man. They got crushed today badly. And it was a coaching fiasco. Like how many penalties did we have today? I know we had like 2 or 3 penalties today, I think. We had we had Drake London squaring up at the end. I saw Drake London. Those sequence of plays had me thinking to myself, Drake London, he is not your garden variety light-skinned guy named Drake. That boy over there, man, he tackling guys. He getting up, he fighting 2 of them. And even after that, he was still kind of like getting the guys' faces. Kind of like, I was like, hey, man, Drake a dog. Drake won it today.
He has a little bit of that Black Air Force One energy.
Yeah. Hey, that's facts. But it's time to stop messing around. I think today we got to toast that big Penix Energy.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Now his final stat line wasn't super impressive. He threw for a little over 200 yards, 1 pick, no touchdowns, in the 60s in completion percentage. But we got to admit that what we saw, the game plan today, obviously, they wanted to protect the young quarterback. They wanted to run the ball as much as possible. They did run the hell out of the ball. This is a great team to run the ball against, like we said, going into this game. This team is impressively, the Giants, that is impressively efficient at being bad at defending the run. Like, to see like some of the least amount of runs out of any team and still be giving up the most yards, that is wow, right?
Absolutely. There was
that is crazy.
where like Bijan was bottled up and he somehow found a cutback lane.
Yeah.
Like every time. I was like, these guys are terrible.
That was crazy, yeah. And speaking of which, Bijan over 1,500 all scrimmage yards this season. Great for him. Proud of Bijan. Very happy with what he's doing. But yeah, man, Penix, bro. Like, what you see from the kid? What you see?
I liked how composed he looked in the pocket. He looked comfortable. Something we hadn't seen from Kirk over the last 5 weeks. He looked like he had control over the offense. Something that really stood out was how effortlessly the ball zipped from his hands. Even when he was under duress or it wasn't a clean pocket and he had to rush to get the ball out, it still zipped from his hands. Like he has effortless arm strength. And that's something that we can appreciate as fans, considering we've kind of gone through the rigmarole with bad quarterback play. Hell, I could even include like a little bit of Matty Ice towards the end of that. Hell, our team wasn't that good. We were rebuilding. But yeah, even then, like you could see diminished arm strength from him towards the latter part of his career. Mariota doesn't have a strong arm. Ritter, nothing particular either. But neither of those guys were even accurate enough to even get the ball to our guys for long passes. And then we got Kirk. And with Kirk, I can say, hey, I'm thankful for his contribution. I'm thankful for his leadership and guidance. I'm thankful for Kirktober. I'm but hey man, when it
Yeah.
came down to it, he had 5 straight weeks of less than stellar, subpar quarterback play. And we eventually had to move on. And you can see the immediate difference between what we were getting then and what we're getting now. Even though Penix didn't have a great game, he didn't have the best game. He had a solid game, a
Yep.
game that we relied on our defense and our run game. But hey, he made plays when they needed to be made, and I saw things from him that I wanted to see. I saw him hold off linebackers to produce extra space for passing lanes to hit his guys in stride. I saw zip on his passes. I saw composure. I saw a lot of good things that I want to see. Things you can build on. And granted,
Yep.
I don't want to put too much pressure on him. Granted, this is a pressure-filled moment right now. Granted, we have the Commanders Sunday night coming up, and Jaden Daniels just went crazy. I was really hoping they would lose. They won, so like now we got to rely on the Bucks losing 1 out of 3 games and us winning out, which I still think is possible. But we could talk about that later. But at the same time, like I saw things from him that I wanted to see, and this is I don't want to put too much pressure on him, and there will be games where he does not play well. But I saw quarterback play trending upwards. I didn't see enough, but it was a good step in the right direction. What about you, man? What do you think?
I think you said a lot of the key things. So when you're making a quarterback switch, especially when you're switching from an older quarterback to a younger quarterback, you want to see the quarterback do things that the old guy just couldn't do. I noticed Penix he was just simply more mobile than Kirk. He barely ran. I think he had one rush today. But he had a rush, which we saw like 2 rushes from Kirk all year. You know what I'm saying? So he showed mobility. He showed a very lively arm. Like the ball flies out of this guy's hand. You know what I'm saying? We saw a guy who he didn't make bad decisions. You know, he might have thrown one pass at some point late in the fourth quarter that might have been turnover worthy, but it didn't. Like the guy jumped the pass, it went over his hands, and Chris Blair caught it, and that was that play. You know, and so those are things because you know when you say hey what was wrong with the last guy that's getting up out of here, you saw that he had a bad turnover problem. You saw that he was a statue in the pocket. Teams knew where he was going to be. He was such a statue that teams that don't have the best pass rush are able to get pass rush because they know where he's going to be. All right. You saw a guy making questionable decisions, which felt unforgivable for an older quarterback. So it was like why not go with the rookie? You saw that you saw too some of the things that made him great in Washington, which is that he was aggressive. Sometimes that might not always be the play, but when you talk about sports, I'd rather have a guy I need to reel in than a guy I need to encourage to be more aggressive. Right? You're never gonna worry about him being overly conservative. All right.
Oh, I
Um,
agree. It
yeah,
felt a
yeah.
little bit more like controlled aggression. Like he knows when he can pick his spots to really push it.
Right, right, right. Exactly. And I think it's coachable. He doesn't have that knucklehead gene. We know the knucklehead gene. That's the one where you keep being a little too aggressive in the wrong situations and then it turn into turnovers and you don't learn from that shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he hadn't given me knuckleheaded vibes in this game. Now, obviously, it's one game against a bad team. You can't evaluate what he's going to be next year at this time or anything like that. All you can do is just evaluate what you got to see. You saw a guy who he had a scramble today, but he also what I noticed was Zach Robinson. His play calling seemed to involve a little bit more movement from that position as well. So that leads me to wonder if maybe Kirk wasn't fully recovered yet. I mean, we knew he wasn't at the start of the year, but he is also 36. When you're 36, it take a little longer to come back from them injuries than maybe a 26-year-old. A 26-year-old Kirk, he might have tore his Achilles and he would have been ready to go. But I think Kirk is he's either still hurt or as what happens when you're 36 and you get hurt. Sometimes that's it. You get hurt and you just don't get that athleticism back even after you heal. And that was important for Kirk to have the little athleticism he did because he doesn't have a huge arm like Penix had. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, I saw a lot of things to build off of. I wish he could have had a chance for a touchdown. He threw a sweet fade to Drake London that ended up getting broken up. Yeah, I mean, that was just a great play by the defenders. Sometimes that happens. Maybe he could have put it a little more on the outside. But I think that is something that'll come with reps. It's his first week start. This is his first time working with the starters. And I feel like with each passing week, as he gets more chance to work with the starters, they'll get more on the same page and he'll be able to be more aggressive. Be able to find more success on those types of roles. He also had the play in the red zone that was on the pick that was off of a weird pitch drop. Like he caught the ball and then, he fumbled it, tucking it away. Like that was such a strange one. That's such a strange pick to have. Like one that shouldn't count as a pick, but also, God, that's a rough look for Pitts when he's been having the year he's having and everybody frustrated and they ready to see Pitts do something, and then he does and we don't like what we're seeing. So,
No, I agree.
I also noticed they didn't and this not to get sidetracked, but I noticed that they took Pitts out on plays where they wanted to run the ball in the red zone. So they don't even really feel like the threat of Pitts is worth the time anymore. They like, hey man, just go ahead and put in the two best blocking tight ends, and if they know it's a run, well, that's why we got the two best blockers in. All right. So I'm excited to see where we go with Penix. He didn't really face too much pressure, but when he did have pressure, he faced it and handled it well. I do obviously want to see what he looks like against a team that can get consistent pressure. I want to see what he looks like against a team that can play man coverage very tightly, or a team that plays zone well. Just to see how he makes all his reads, because I saw him looking guys off. He made some plays where he looked one way and then came back and then threw the other way. Love that. That's progression reading. That's a guy who is understanding the play. He understanding what he's seeing and he feeling confident about it. You know what I'm saying? So that's huge. And that'll be huge going forward too. But I think, I mean, look, the thing you got to remember too is Penix is 24. He's not a full-on child like, some of these younger guys are. He's 24, so there's a certain level of maturity that comes with that. But also, this is a guy who saw a lot of football in college. So it was going to just basically be about him, getting a chance to actually play in the game, play with these teammates, play using this new playbook that's not the playbook he had in college. And I loved what I saw there. Now, I want to talk about the rest of the team. So, how'd you feel about the defense?
Oh, my goodness. Round of applause for the defense, man. Let's give out some flowers, man.
Yeah.
Caden Ellis, I think 4 straight games with a sack. Arnold Ebiketie stepping it up. We're getting a lot of interior pressure. We're getting some also pressure from the outside as well. Zach Harrison has been playing well.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with what our front four has been able to do. Since that bye week, we've been damn near been a top. Okay.
No, yeah, you're right.
I was gonna say we damn near been like a top 5 pass rushing defense, bro. That's like
Based off the numbers going into this game, we were tied for second as far
bro.
as most sacks over the last since our bye week.
And we had 3 today.
And I think we tacked on 3 today. Yeah.
And we had a sack, forced fumble. So, hey man, I'm liking what I'm seeing, dog. And granted, hey, we're gonna have some growing pains when we go up against teams who have some real dogs on the outside. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But hey, man, hey, I'm liking the growth I'm seeing. Though I'm liking how we got guys that we drafted that we were at one point like, are these guys gonna play? Are they gonna do something? And like, hey, now we can see that hey, it was a little bit of coaching. We had to make some adjustments,
Mm-hmm.
and we've made them. And now guys are starting to eat. Now we're starting to get some pressure. Now we're starting to convert that pressure into sacks. Now we're starting to get results, and I'm liking that from our defense. We're starting to turn around. It's good, and it sucks that there's a small chance that it may be too late, considering the Bucks may win out, considering Washington just won, so the game this upcoming Sunday night is not gonna be as important. It's still gonna matter. It's gonna matter for us, but not as much for Washington.
Right.
So
Yeah. Almost punched their ticket, pretty much.
they've almost punched their ticket. They would have to lose out these last two games, but I
Right.
highly doubt that happens. We really needed Philly to win, and they just came up short. It sucks that Jalen Hurts went away concussed and whatnot. But hey, we're gonna talk about our team and what we got to
Yep.
go through right now.
Yep.
We got to win out, and we got two games left. We got Washington, and then we got Carolina. I'm feeling a little bit more confident about that Carolina game just because after what I've seen today. But hell, even Carolina put up a fight against Arizona. Carolina's gonna put up a fight every game. They're a solid team on the up and ups.
Yep.
And then
Hey, look, they're a young team that's trying to figure out if they got their starter for the next 10 years as well.
of course,
And they're starting to find a way to use them. They're starting to find a way to help them grow. And so that's good for them. But um, I'm definitely, like you said, I'm more focused on us right now. Really loved what I saw from the defense as well. Loved loved the coverage I saw. They actually did they didn't do it every time, but they let AJ travel with neighbors more. Like you said, the pressure we were getting on the front seven. We made the quarterback uncomfortable. And let's be real now. We know who we playing. We playing the Giants. They got like 2, 3 backups on there. They got a questionable guy playing right tackle. We played the Raiders before. Vikings and Chargers before that, who are teams with better offensive lines and can handle pressure better. We got pressures against all of them. I won't make light of the pressure that we got though, because let's be real. Time and time and time again in the past, have we seen Falcons teams go against a team that just been letting all 5 offensive linemen are turnstiles, and we the only team don't know how to use the turnstile. We
yeah,
can't get on the train because we the only ones don't know how to use the turnstile. It ain't matter how much sacks somebody else was getting. We couldn't do it, but now we can. Now we do consistently. And like you said, I want to see what this team looks like when we face teams with better receiving options. But over the last 4 games, the Vikings game was an outlier over the last 4 games now. And if like I said, you look at who we playing, bozos for some of those. But that's the outlier there. So we got something to look at. And look, we started recording after the Eagles and Commanders game ended because wanted to know. One of the things I wanted to talk about was playoff prospects. If the Eagles would have pulled out that victory, then we can go to Washington, and if we beat Washington, we probably can beat Carolina last game, make the playoffs, right? But the Commanders was able to take care of business without Jalen Hurts, so that's that. But I don't want anybody to look at this season as a failure if we don't make the playoffs. Guess what? How many wins we got on the season right now, Cam?
8.
When is the last time a Falcons team had 8 wins in a season?
I want to say 2017.
You think about that. First time in 7 years, this team has gotten 8 wins. We found, hey, team going through a stretch where we starting to get a bunch of sacks. I think for the first time in the last 7 years, this dark tunnel we in might have a light at the end.
Potentially.
It's a lot. Look, we were ready to throw them boys out, but hey, shit, that pick of Penix looking real good now.
Hey, I will say this about Terry. He's great on a contingency plan, man. I love it. And people clowned us for it. Hell, I was a little upset just because it was an 8th pick. I'm like, man, are we going to waste an 8th pick on a quarterback when we just spend $100 million on a quarterback? But hell, it was the right decision to make. Why? Because as a team in QB purgatory, you need to spend all of your resources getting out of QB purgatory, whether that be to sign a guy and still to even on top of that draft a guy. And that's what we did. And I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. We need to see some more game tape on Penix. Next week is going to be a real test because we're going up against a playoff team fighting for our chance to make the playoffs. So we're really going to see what we got because we got to go to Washington.
It's what you
So
want.
we're really going to see what we got. So I'm excited for next week because we got a must-win game against a playoff team. This is a playoff game. Michael Penix Jr. is playing a playoff game in his second career start, and I'm excited because he looked composed. He looked sure of himself. The moment didn't look too big. He looked like he was supposed to be there. And hell, he can make some mistakes. He's gonna have some growing pains. But from what I saw a guy who looked like he met the part. He looked like a guy who belonged.
Look, let me tell you another thing too. So usually when you running the ball, your quarterback is facing a lot of like third and shorts, so they kind of getting bailed out by the situation. MPJ converted some third and longs.
He absolutely
a couple third and 12s that he was very composed. He knew how to handle himself, and he got the ball out. And he also looks like he's fixed maybe fixed a couple things. Now all the passes weren't accurate, but like. He didn't really throw over the middle as much during Washington. He definitely likes to go deep to the outsides on the boundaries more. But he looked comfortable throwing over the middle. And
he absolutely did.
So that's I love seeing a quarterback be better at things that we didn't get to see a lot of them doing in college, and then they come in and do that now. And look, this got to be basically be kind of a dress rehearsal for Michael Penix. Next week, like you said, prime time game. So it's nationally televised going into the on the road against the Commanders, facing your old coach if you're the Falcons, but that ain't got nothing to do with this team for real. I think the only players from the last time he was a coach that was it's still a few of them, but I know Grady and Jake Matthews were there, but and probably was AJ Terrell there? AJ Terrell was there during like the last.
Maybe his rookie year.
Yeah, and I know Chris Lindstrom and Caleb McGarry were there for at least that beginning part. So it's guys from there. But the point is, because we can sidetrack. Point is, if you're a fan, you care about that. Maybe the players don't care about that. Maybe Raheem care about it. He coached under Quinn. But yeah, it's a scenario that's got a lot of emotional investment for us as fans, right? And look, I'm excited. I want to see. This will be the last game this year that Michael Penix will get the chance to face a playoff caliber defense. And we playing with house money right now. At least he is, with regards to how the fans feel about him. Right? We go in and he has a great game. Wow, we got Michael Penix Jr. He's amazing, and he's playing this well in his second game on the road, prime time against a playoff caliber team. You're super excited. If he plays bad, it's like, well, it's a second game on the road against a playoff caliber team. So it's not, you can't bury him over it, but it's a lot to be excited for going in the future. And then if we win next week, that'll give us 9 wins. That'll be the first winning record we've had since 2017. Right. And then, if we can win out, we'll have double-digit wins. These are small little goals you got to take as a fan. Maybe, you'll look back at this season and you'll look at certain games we lost that we should have won that could have, pushed us through as far as being in the playoffs. But just remember, if we had won some of those games, we wouldn't be seeing Michael Penix out there right now. Right? Maybe no, with the way Kirk was playing, actually, maybe if we would have beat the Chargers and he still played the way he played the rest of the year, they might have still pulled him, and then we'd have an extra win in Penix in there. But we don't know how that would have worked out. Results are often what you get judged by. And, if we would have beat the Chargers or if we would have beat the Saints, that might have bought more time, and we don't see Penix out there. Right. So a lot to be excited about. I think I really enjoyed just what was nice. God, tell me this wasn't nice. Knowing the game was wrapped up by the third quarter.
Man, it felt great. I was able to turn a little bit of red zone.
Yeah.
Catch other highlights. Got to watch the end of the Washington Philly game, which was amazing. Got to watch the Carolina Cardinals game. That was good too. Some good football today.
It was so nice as a fan, especially after what we've been through over these last few weeks. You just put that thing on. You said the Falcons were going to do this. We thought the Falcons were going to do this. Hell, we even dialed it back. We wanted to call for a blowout. I was scared to do that. I said 24-6. Oh, by the way, I can't believe we forgot to shout out old Jesse and Judon on their pick sixes. Great play by Jesse, too. Jesse actually almost stole their only touchdown
He did.
of the game. Yeah, you saw that pick he had that he didn't quite get his hands on. And then and I was like, all right, now when Jesse start getting his hands on balls, I mean, he kind of knowing something, he figuring it out. So Jesse Bates then, he made the pick six. It was an exciting game for us. It was a great game as a fan to just say, damn, we had a sorry team and we backhanded them. Backhand, forehand them like that, give them that. Because that did not feel good. If you a Falcons fan right now, be honest with yourself. Did you feel like we won when we beat the Raiders?
No.
Did you feel like a win?
It felt like we just didn't lose.
Yeah, I don't think anybody got on any podcast platform, any YouTube platform, nobody got on anything and said, yeah, we were dominant. We were great. It felt so good to get off that 4-game losing streak. We were on a 4-game losing streak and nobody was excited about that.
You're right. You're right.
You know what I'm saying? But this one felt good. You felt excitement. You feel like for the first time in so long, I got something to be excited about that's going to extend beyond just being a little piece of time in the bottle. So we're going to see what happens next week. Right now, Raheem and Terry Raheem and Terry, if they finish this season strong, maybe we won't make the playoffs, but they'll look like, all right, maybe they know a little something about what they're doing. Because look, you got on any Falcons forum last week, you were not people. They was like, man, throw the baby out the bathwater.
Yep.
They were like, get rid of all of these guys, clear the house. Arthur Blank too. Oh, speaking of which, I think I heard. I don't know if I read it or I watched it, but I heard that maybe the call to put Penix in came from upstairs.
I wouldn't be surprised. Kirk wouldn't get the job done.
Hey man, look, I'd be like, all right, y'all boys playing. Arthur Blank is in his mid-80s, early 80s. I think he's like 83. But I'm like, that man is not long for this world. Y'all ain't about to sit here and blow his last few years. Oh, we're building something. Like, put the rook in. So we'll see. Maybe look, it might be too little, too late. But just remember, we got a lot going forward. All right. Now, anything else you want to toss in, Cam? Anything we forgot to cover?
Hey man, special team stepped up too. Young Boy was out, and this backup kicker did his thing. He missed one kick, but he made up for it with a couple kicks, couple extra points. Did his thing. We also had a
he also nailed a 52-yarder, actually. Yeah, so he did good because he missed a 42 or 43-yarder for his first kick. And I'm not gonna lie, for a minute I was like, oh shit,
here we go.
Here we go again. I'm like, but then he quickly righted it, and I'm like, all right, maybe Koo was hurt because Koo was missing the hell out of them short kicks. But my guy here, he held it down, held the ship down, and I hear with kickers, they have more. The supply is bigger than the demand. So if it came to it, maybe Bradley Patterson's a guy we keep him. We ain't got to worry about that anymore. We'll see.
Yeah, and we also on special teams. I believe we also had like a
An
tipped
almost blocked.
a punt almost blocked. It was tipped or whatever. So
It was altered. He didn't get a hand on it, but like you could tell the punter, because the punt was super short. But you could tell like the punter was like, "Good God, let me get this thing out from around this guy." Because Zach Harrison's he's 6'6" with long arms, so
yeah.
when he come flying at you as you the punter, I think that affects how you affects your timing, so to speak.
Hey, but nevertheless, defense looked great. Special teams look great. Offense trending in the right direction. What I wanted to
Yeah,
see.
we scored 34 points total. Um, but if you take away the defensive touchdowns, that's 20 points. But also we had a missed field goal and we had an inexcusable turnover in the red zone. The offense, honest God, has looked better than it's looked, except for the first 3 quarters against Minnesota. That is the best the offense has looked since we played Dallas.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
so we gonna see, man. We gonna see. Look, I'm gonna be watching all of this season regardless, because I think we got a lot to look forward to, a lot to evaluate going forward. The only other thing too though is we got to have a conversation about Pitts, man. Look, I do my best to defend Pitts because I mean realistically, you know, when a lot of times when you're a fan, you get focused on the results of how a play ended or whatever. But I watch a lot of the routes, and I see times when he's open and he's not getting the ball. But then the problem for me that comes in is we can scream at the coaches for the opportunity you're not getting, but I got to scream at you for the opportunities you are getting and not doing anything with it. So that's one of those things that made that drop in the red zone look real bitter. Raymond McLeod had a drop early in the game. Drake London had a drop early in that game. But when you have a drop in the red zone that turned into a pick, that take points off the board, that's a drop that wasn't even a drop that like, oh, I just dropped it. You like dropped it and your drop was I caught it and lost the ball tucking it away. It just looks bad, man. It looks bad, and a lot of his, in the Falcons nation, a lot of his goodwill's worn out. Like people forget, this guy he still has had 1,000 yards as a rookie. Like that happened. That didn't change, but he's not getting used that way. And when he is getting used, he's not really doing anything with it. It's like I hope it work out, Kyle, man. But I mean, I can't see them wanting to extend a 5th-year option and bringing you back. So. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. What's your thoughts on Kyle Pitts?
I don't want to give up on him just yet, but at the same time, you know what? I'll bring this up. At one point during Kirktober, Kyle Pitts was on pace for over 1,000 yards.
Yeah, that's
So
so
it's
crazy. That
there.
was so long ago.
It's there, man. We just got to get him the ball. Like we've shown glimpses of getting him the ball the correct way, the way he's best utilized, using that stride, using that 4.4 speed, using that against linebackers and taking advantage of it. We don't use that as much as we should. And I don't know if that's a Zach Robinson thing or if it's a Kyle Pitts thing. Maybe the route running's lazy, maybe the effort's not there. But I don't. I wouldn't necessarily say that's been the case. I have seen cases where that I'm like, dog, that was on you. At the
Yeah,
same time, I'm like, dog, this is what year 4. I like 2.5 of these years he's been used like shit. So I can't blame him for that. And he was hurt.
yeah.
So same time, dog, like I'm not ready to throw in a towel on him just yet. Maybe we franchise tag him. Maybe I know we got him. I think we gave him a 5th-year option, so we'll see what happens after that. But I'm not ready to throw in a towel on him just yet. We'll see how these next 2 games go.
Look, all I really want to see, especially with Michael Penix Jr. back there, is I want to see us scheme him up for more deep routes, because I think that's the best way for him to be used. Be a guy to use to make explosive plays. I want to see that. And if he can't handle doing the thing that he does well, then I'm ready to go ahead and call it. Right? I'm ready to go ahead. Beep, beep. Oh, he's done. He's done. But if because my thing is, we keep using him like a traditional tight end, and I'm like, why? We saw when we let him run down the field, he can make some plays. So, but then I look up and I'm seeing all like, everything's a dump off, everything's a 5 yard out. I'm like, if you got the wrong kind of tight end for that. This ain't no George Kittle guy where he gonna take that short dump off, break a tackle, and then run and get a bunch of yards. He ain't no Travis Kelce where he might, well, young Kelce anyway, where he might be able to beat a guy real quick off the line and do something with that. Like he need to be used a little closer to maybe how Evan Ingram was used. Evan Ingram was basically the same thing. He was a athletic tight end that played in New York, didn't really work out. Then he went to Jacksonville, and when they used him more in the role that complemented his skill set, he was able to go ahead and make some huge plays. It actually looked pretty good for a while until Jacksonville.
No,
You
I
know what I'm
agree. I
saying?
agree.
Yeah. So that's most of what happened that I wanted to talk about in this game. Let me see if we had anything else that we wanted to go over. Yeah, no, man. Look, I think that's it. Anything else you want to add, Cam?
No, I think we covered everything, man. This was a good week. Good week for
All
us.
right. Awesome. Well, look, guys, like we said, we got a lot of good things to get excited about. Quarterback in his first game didn't look half bad, got a W. Guys got to get a blowout win on a Sunday against a bad team, as you should, which has not always been the case for us, especially of late. The only turnover really wasn't the fault of your young quarterback. Your defense got 3 turnovers, scored 2 touchdowns, you got 3 sacks. What more could you ask for after a game like that? And you know what? Even if maybe it's not looking likely, your playoff hope's still alive. You ain't out of this thing until, well, we got to win next week, but you ain't out of this thing until week 18 if you win next week. And then you can't ask for too much more than that, especially with where we've been over the last few years. All right.
Right on.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for spending some time with us right after the game. I know y'all probably already drunk, celebrating and shit. I'm about to go ahead and have me a good time, enjoy the rest of my day. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, hit the little bell when you want to know some real niggas uploading. Peace.
Peace.